Episode 136, Broken Arrow. Raiders bye week. Chiefs had a rough one, and our Week 14 predictions and preview. Coach and I did have a special guest planned for this evening. We had to ad-lib at the last minute. Obviously, there was some stuff going on in Vegas tonight. Prayers sort of involved there. Coach, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right, man. It's been a couple days since our unfortunate loss on Sunday.
Good game.
It was a good game. So for me, Sundays when I'm not working and the Chiefs are on, whether it's early game, game of the week, Sunday night, whatever. I have like a ritual. Like I order some pizza, I get some wings, I sit down, I enjoy the game. I probably eat too much, but I was super stoked for this game. And then they just, we're going to go into it here in a minute, but they came out very flat, obviously disappointed. But we're on to the next week. We can't sulk, you know what I mean? So we gotta move on, but there's a lot to be said about this last game. And it's too bad that Austin couldn't have been on here to just rub it in my face, but
and the thing is too, I forgot to check in with him again because I thought we had our guest, so that could have worked as well. But you know what? It's fine. We'll have him on again.
Yeah, we had cordial texting, and the one thing that we were texting each other is we hope that it doesn't go into the ref's hands, right? And there's some things to be said about that, but ultimately it's not. So I'll take the lead. I'll take the hand.
Go into it. I watched the whole game, but let's go into it.
I'll be the Pacheco and take the lead on this. So lost 27-19. I think the game probably it could have been more. I felt like we just really didn't play a good game. People will go to the pass interference on MBS, right? That was clearly a pass interference, but I think the play previous, where they got it was like unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, right? I think that's what it was.
Are you talking about unnecessary roughness?
Unnecessary roughness, yeah. So
the hit on Mahomes,
yeah, on Mahomes. That I thought, there was a lot of talk on Twitter. Was that a makeup call? Potentially. They're obviously not going to admit that, but if you're somewhat sensible, it sure seems that way.
We've seen it happen before. So
you've seen it happen before, and then the Hail Mary at the end of the end zone, you can't call that. You can't. You can, but
they never do.
They never do. It's not appropriate. I'm sure if you look at most Hail Marys to the end zone at the end of a game, there's some sort of pass interference, but it is what it is. Patrick, when I'm not upset with him, but when he doesn't have a name,
like an angry dad.
Patrick
Lavon
Mahomes the third didn't have a great game. There were some plays that he made that I wasn't that weren't typically. I feel like it's been ping pong all year, right? It's been back and forth with Mahomes. He has an incredible game. He looks like vintage, MVP Mahomes, and then he makes some bad plays. I think some of the bad plays are obviously on the receivers. He's, his guys are still leading the league in drop passes, so that's not necessarily on him.
I noticed Chiefs Kingdom is really done with Sky Moore.
Yeah, they're done with
two guys that scored touchdowns in the Super Bowl win, but that's what it is.
Yeah, so the receiving situation is obviously is the main topic on any Chiefs Twitter, right? You're following a lot of Raiders people. I'm following a lot of Chiefs people. We follow some of the same people, but the unanimous talk on everything is our receivers are not getting good. That the pass that got intercepted by the former Raider that was it
Sean Nixon?
Yeah. I don't think he was never anyone major on the squad, but no. There's a lot of talk on was that Sky Moore's fault? Was that Patrick Mahomes' fault? It's probably both people's fault, honestly. Patrick's made some just not his best decisions. As far as
it was kind of a great catch on Nixon's part when you look at it.
Yeah, I know it was a great catch. You can dice it 1,000 ways. It was just it was on both of them. I don't think. I think Sky Moore probably stopped before he should have, and Mahomes probably shouldn't have thrown the ball. But it's all that shit's it's so easy to critique because it's a split-second decision. And you got linemen coming at you, you got linebackers coming at you. You got to get the ball away. You got to try to make a play, especially when you're down. It is what it is. But yeah, overall, not a great game for Mahomes. He had like 200, I think like 11 yards. He had a touchdown and an interception. Pacheco ran the ball pretty good. We seem to like run the ball pretty good, and then we stop running the ball. So it's very similar to what the Raiders do, which is crazy. But
you don't want to hold that pattern.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of things. Brian Cook, thank God his ankle's not shattered. Hopefully he can come back at some point this year. Losing Dan Tranquil, who's like, our essentially our quarterback on the defense. Him getting hurt in the beginning of the game was not helpful at all.
Is he going to be available this week?
I don't know. I think Nick Bolton's practicing, so Nick Bolton will be back. Tranquil's been,
we've been raving about him all season.
Yeah.
Well,
Tranquil's he's been a stud, man. That's somebody that they have to. I mean, they don't have to, but I would think that they have a lot of interest in getting re-signed here to come back because he's an integral part of the defense, and I think Spags has a lot of trust in him. So, 27-19, not how you want to, show up on Sunday Night Football, especially because they just didn't look good. They just didn't look good. And no wide receiver out there, despite what people people suggested, Jarvis Landry, Kenny Galladay, all these guys, like, if they were good enough to be on an NFL roster right now, they'd be on an NFL roster. At the week 14 point, there's no one that's going to come into KC right now that you can legitimately acquire that's going to help the team.
Someone really advocated for Kenny Galladay?
Yes. I will. That person will remain nameless, but he
should.
He does listen to this podcast, and to be fair to him, to be fair to him, he's more on the Jarvis Landry, bandwagon, but he's lost his accelerator. I mean, he's just not the same player, right? So NFL GMs are not completely dumb, right? If these guys were going to help your team, they'd be on a team. Like Julio Jones is on the Eagles, right? Do we ever hear anything about Julio?
No, he had that one touchdown, but that was like
that's just the bottom line, man. So and we can't go back to shoulda, woulda, couldas with some of these wide receivers we could have had. Doesn't do us any good. And we just have to get ready for Buffalo, and that's an extremely important game. It was nice to see the Jaguars lose. We have a relatively easy schedule to finish out. We just got to win out, and we'll see if we can. But, this might be year one, the first year that Mr. Patrick LeVon Mahomes III has to go on the road and win a playoff game. So then he could shut up those critics. But, not the way you want to show up on a Sunday night, and they know it. They just got to move forward and hope that this next week against the Bills, they can show up and show out in Arrowhead. I think they'll play angry, so that'll be good. But we just got to move on and move forward.
That's an interesting, worst case scenario is that he plays a playoff game on the road. I would just like
an Arrowhead Invitational.
I would just like to see my team in the playoffs, let alone on the road. Just recognize how spoiled you are. So you guys dropped to what, 8-3?
8-4.
8-4, still first in the AFC West, obviously, with the Broncos in second of all teams. Raiders taking up the rear in last. So we had a bye week. Not a whole lot going on there. We got to see. They signed 2 defensive ends. I think put them on the practice squad. That makes me nervous. Makes me wonder if maybe old Max Crosby's knee isn't quite what it should be. I need to see the practice report. And, we do have the benefit of doing the show a little later in the week than we normally do. But going to be monitoring that for sure. Because as you saw, when we played you guys, we had like no pressure on Mahomes essentially because Max was on a snap count. He's the only one that got a sack. He got one of the 2 QB hits. So just not a productive night, or not going to be a productive D-line without him. It's like if you guys didn't have Chris Jones available, it's a game changer. Okay. So why don't we get into our week 14 predictions, because both of our teams are playing this week. You have a big matchup. Ours isn't really big per se, but this is the start of the final 5 of the season. Like you said, you were 8-4. Raiders are 5-7. going 5-0 for either of us could really be a game changer for the remainder of the season. I mean, that would put you guys with a 13-4 record. That's pretty sweet. That would give us 10-7, which is decent. Probably a playoff spot if they do that. But having to win out with the schedule is not easy. Just very quick, Raiders have Vikings, Chargers, Chiefs, Colts, Broncos. It's not the easiest of the last 5, especially with the Broncos playing better. The Colts are trying to squeak into the playoffs. You guys are you guys. And, so our best chance is probably this week against the Vikings, which we'll go into in a little bit. As far as our predictions competition goes, as I said before the show started, we were pretty neck and neck. I was 11 correct wins. You were 10, but the stretch is still on 128. You are 109. So you're gaining on me, right? 19 away. No, you're just
it's we're getting close here. That damn Chiefs game. You picked the Packers, so that was a good call.
It was reckless, but it worked out.
It was reckless, yeah.
And especially since we beat the Packers, but we couldn't beat you, so it's kind of a change. But I think there's a whole lot of reasons why I think they're starting to do better. Jordan Love's playing real nice. Their defensive line is really generating a lot of pressure. We don't have that many playmakers on the D line. And then I think they just kind of wanted it more. They're playing at home, cold weather, a whole lot of things worked in their factor that night. Jordan Love might be driving the Love train for a while, steering the Love train. I don't know how trains work, but anyways, conducting the train. Thank you. So this is not a great week of matchups. I'm not overly excited about it. You don't look overly enthused.
You don't love the quarterback matchups?
No, I don't. Not even ours. AOC versus Josh Dobbs. It's not exactly poster board material there. Well, let's start with one of the worst games of the week. Thursday Night Football, Patriots versus Steelers. Who are you going to take there, Coach?
The Bailey Zappi Mitchell Trubisky Bowl.
Yeah. I thought you were saying you're taking Bailey Zappi for a minute. I was like, oh, okay. We're just going to start off like that. Or
I don't see how the Steelers lose this game.
I think Mitch is better.
To see the Patriots now, like it's crazy.
It's beautiful. It's glorious.
It's beautiful, crazy.
It's what we've been waiting for. I'm taking the Steelers as well. You and I we've waited far too long for this to happen. It would be better if my team is also better, but yes, we're both taking the Steelers. That's an easy one, I think. Next, Bucks and Falcons. This was actually tough for me. I like Baker in Tampa Bay. Mike Evans with another consecutive that every season's been 1,000 yards.
10 years of 1,000 yards.
Insane. I'm glad he reached that milestone. I like him just everything. I'm gonna go Bucks. Bucks over the Falcons.
Me too.
Here we go. Coach, Rams versus Ravens.
Rams are playing for the playoffs right now. They had a good win last week against the Browns. I'm gonna take the Rams.
You are. And I believe the Ravens are number 1 in the AFC right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with the Ravens. I'm going Ravens. Next, I almost want to take this one for you because it's Lions versus Bears. You're going with Dan Campbell and the boys.
Yep, biting kneecaps.
I think you bet. I don't know if you ever bet against them.
I don't bet against the Lions, man.
I respect it. I'm going to join you. And take
only week 1. That was the
right. Only week 1. And that was a good game, though. Colts versus Bengals. Coach.
I'm going to take Gardner and the Minshews. And wouldn't that be a good band name, Gardner and the Minshews?
It's a really good band name.
Yeah. Trademark that shit. I'm going to take the Colts. Whether it's Zach Moss, the Pittman, they played well. Obviously, they just released Shaq Leonard, who signed with the Eagles. But they're playing good football, man. They're 7-5, I think. Right?
Yeah. And they're right on the bubble for the playoffs.
They're on the playoff race. It could really come down between them and the Texans here at the end of the season. So I'm going to take.
If they had Anthony Richardson, I think it'd be even more of a dominant performance. So,
Yep. They got a bright future.
They do. I'm going to go Colts as well. And when we do our offseason talk, which we're getting close to, Coach, it's almost draft time. You're the creme de your. Yeah, you love it. It's the best.
Love it.
I'm going to go Colts as well. But yeah, we're getting close to that talk. All right, next we've got Jaguars versus Browns.
So I don't think we could have a Jaguar team without Trevor Lawrence, without Travis Etienne, and definitely without Christian Kirk, who really has turned into being a very good wide receiver, especially when we were absolutely dogging out of his contract.
Yes, which we still can. It ruined contracts for everyone else.
Yeah, he to an extent, I think he's played close to that. I don't think the contract now is outrageous, but I'm going to take Cleveland in this matchup. Joe Flacco is leading the charge now. You got a good veteran there. Again, we don't. I want to say that's dependent on who actually suits up for the Jaguars. But as of right now, I don't think Trevor will. It's not worth risking him long term. And we know Kirk, and not sure about ETN, but I'm going to take the Browns. Long story short.
Browns as well. I initially did Jags, and then I was like, you watch most of that game, dude. You know that half of their starting offense is injured. So I'm going Browns as well. Yeah, that defense is carrying them through and through. Panthers versus Saints. I don't even know if Derek Carr is going to play, but I think Jameis Winston could settle business down there. No, Saints aren't happy with him anyway. So I'm going to go Saints and Jameis. Take out the Panthers, who are just muddling through to the end of the season. Texans versus Jets. Zach Wilson.
You didn't let me get my pick. Saints. That's what he did. That's the Jameis thing.
Oh, the eat the win. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I just assumed you were going to take the Saints. So my bad. So I'll let you lead off with this one. Texans versus Jets. Zach Wilson back in the reins.
The MILF Hunter. I'm going to take the Texans. Sad thing to see about Tank Dell because he's just a stud. But, yeah.
We were all wrong about them. Everybody was. Everyone counted them out. They're like, yeah, they got 2 top 3 picks. That's cool. It's not going to do anything for them. Yeah. It did something for them. They're looking good. And they got Derek Stingley, too.
Amazing draft, dude. Amazing draft. And Anderson's been a stud, too. So they did well.
That's another one that could go offensive, defensive rookie of the year, similar to Joe Douglas's draft 2 years ago.
Very much so.
So next, the 4:05 games, we got Seahawks versus 49ers. 49ers were ridiculously dominant against the Eagles. That literally just looked like they were firing a bunch of rockets off on offense. And with all the heat going on in that game, too, I thought maybe the Eagles could shift momentum. They didn't. 49ers just kept pouring it on. Dominant win. They're going to destroy the Seahawks. I think a high-scoring affair.
We keep trying to make up excuses for Brock Purdy. Like, oh, he's not that good, this and that. Brock Purdy.
System quarterback.
Despite what you might think of him, for someone second year, right, to go into Philadelphia, probably one of the toughest places to play, and just absolutely dog him after being down the first quarter, shows a lot about his grit. And I know his teammates, Debo, Brandon Ayuk, Christian McCaffrey, all those guys love him. And, 49ers are going to continue to roll. The 49ers play like that or close to that. No one's touching them. They're the Super Bowl champs. I mean, bottom line.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, I think they are. I don't want them to win, but it looks like they are.
Yeah,
I'm going
very good.
I'm going to skip our 2 games, save those for the end. Chargers and Broncos. I'm going to go Chargers. I'm ready for the Bronco fluke win streak. Well, it already did come to an end, but I want it to come to a permanent end. They need to settle back at the bottom where they belong. Chargers with the win.
Yeah, Chargers 100%.
Brandon Staley's still getting fired, though.
Yes.
So next, the 8:20 game.
Can I just say one other? Let me say one other thing. How bad was that Chargers Patriots game? That was
my dude. It was like
to be honest, dude. I would have rather watched a WNBA regular season game than that.
Jeez,
that's how bad it was.
I just don't know what. I love football, but it's kind of the reason I don't watch a lot of college. I don't watch a lot of preseason because I want to see quality football. And that was just like what came to mind was like wearing a shoe and then stepping directly on a nail and then it's stuck in the shoe. And I'm just trying to get it out. That was like watching that game. That was horrendous. Terrible. So here's the exact opposite. Eagles versus Cowboys. The Sunday night football game should be phenomenal. NFC East.
Another potential game of the year. I am taking the Cowboys. I think Dak Prescott will do more to cement his MVP case. Happy for the guy. He gets, being a Cowboys quarterback, he gets a lot of flack. He's some of it deserved, some of it not. Comes with the territory. Anybody who's in that position knows that. He knows that. It's not a black or white thing, right? You're the Cowboy quarterback, you're going to get scrutinized, and he needs to obviously show up in the playoffs and show he can do it there. But during the regular season, he's been great. CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, they got it going on. Tony Pollard, defense has been good. So I'm going to take the Cowboys. The Eagles will be on a 2-game losing streak after this week.
All right. For the sake of argument, I initially had the Cowboys as well. I'll side with my son's team. Fly, Eagles, fly. I think they're going to storm out of there with a vengeance after getting embarrassed by the 49ers. Initially, I did not think that. Monday Night Football, but for the sake of the contest, I got to take a few flyers here and there. Titans versus Dolphins.
The Dolphins, man. The Tyreek Hill. Every week I watch him. I say, we miss this dude a lot. 500 yards away from getting to 2,000, which I have, unless he gets hurt, have absolutely no doubt that he will get. He will set a new record that will, blow that 2,000 yards away. I think. Maybe not blow it away, but he'll beat it. Dolphins, man. We ended up getting McDuffie out of the situation essentially, and Cook and all that other stuff. But man, I miss number 10.
So is that that argument kind of settled? Like, not whether who made who, but like the Brady Belichick argument, the Mahomes.
Yeah, no, Tyreek's an incredible football player. He is just so freaking fast, dude. It is. You can create a guy. It's like he's a creative player in Madden. Yeah. He obviously improved. I think his hands improved a lot while he was in Kansas City. And his route running, but his speed is just out in open field. You're not going to catch him. You're not.
That's why I don't understand why you see all these teams playing zone against them.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
he finds the open spot.
He even said it about Washington. Like, Ron Rivera, come on, dude. Are you really just going to –
But then also in the same respect, if you don't think there's anyone that can dap him up man on man, what are you going to do? But
it's a no-win situation, essentially.
Because he's going to get in that soft spot, and it just takes 2 seconds. And Tua isn't as great, I think, in man-to-man. We kind of saw that against the Jets. But in zone, he's got this little rocket, Tyreek, that just pops up and –
Yep.
We deviated there, but I'm going Dolphins. I think you are as well. Over the
Dolphins, definitely.
And then we got a doubleheader Monday night, which is sweet. Although I don't like staying up that late on Mondays. Packers versus the Giants. I'm gonna go Pack go. I think just another game they're gonna tune it up.
I'm gonna go.
Don't. No way.
The Packers. I think the Tommy DeVito train it comes crashing down, but
well, it's already crashed. I mean,
it's already crashed.
They lost the Raiders, so they're done.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Tyrod Taylor plays. I don't know, but yeah, the
Giants, I think you're right. I think though they didn't name him the starter, even though he's back to not full health, but he's healthy enough to play.
It would behoove the Giants not to continue to try and win games at this point of the year.
But I don't think they could win them even if they tried.
Yeah, well, I mean, I know they can't, but like just
I know they had the one win.
Solidify the draft position.
Right. So there we go. Now we'll get into our games. You guys have the Bills. It's at home in Arrowhead. Are you going? Are you working?
No, I'm working this weekend.
That should be a good one.
That'll be a good game. Obviously,
I may start Rashee Rice in fantasy.
I did. I actually have Rashee Rice going in my draft.
I'm going to bench Garrett Wilson for him.
So I think the Chiefs will ultimately win this game. Obviously, there's a lot of history the last couple of years between us and the Bills. It's become a big rivalry just because of Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Madden cover boys and winning with 12 seconds left and all that other good stuff as far as the Chiefs and Bills go. Bills really need this. Chiefs really need this. It's going to be a matter of who wants it more. And I think there's a little bit more just dishevelment in the Bills organization right now, especially with what's going on with Von Miller. He's not on the exempt list. Justin Ross is, which doesn't make a lot of sense. We don't need to get into that. Not that
Yeah,
Justin
no
Ross
backfire on that either. No demand for Von Miller to get out.
Yeah, no. The Bills really, really need this game. But I think the Chiefs need it just as much because, we want to have the number 1 seed. So I don't think the Chiefs by a field goal, but I think we ultimately get it done at the end. I think Harrison Butker kick to win it. But I think it's close because they just a good rivalry. You know what I mean? I don't think one team dominates the other in this game particularly. And I just think we edge it out at the end.
I'm taking the Bills.
Taking the Bills. Okay.
I think that Josh Allen knows that Stephon Diggs is going to be requesting a trade if they lose to them again.
Right.
So this could be the final straw, I think, because there's a chance they may not make the playoffs, so they keep blowing it. I kind of doubt it. I think they'll squeak into the playoffs regardless. But Stephon Diggs is just losing it. Like, the guy wants a ring. He wants at least to play in a Super Bowl, and he hasn't gotten there. And Josh Allen and all of his picks and such nots aren't getting it done. And their defense just isn't really what it used to be. So I'm curious if Von is going to play. I don't know how there's been no addressing of that. Like, this is no tolerance policy for DV, but we'll see what ends up happening there. So I'm going to go Bills to make things spicy. And then my game, and both of us playing in the 4:00 window. Raiders are 5-7. Vikings are 6-6. Josh Dobbs was just named the starter. Justin Jefferson should be returning. Perfect, just in time for us. That's going to go well. And Josh Dobbs is 2-2 as a starter. 5 touchdowns, 5 picks. The Vikings O-line is pretty decent. They have the 3rd least amount of sacks allowed in the league with 27. The highest is the Giants with 69 allowed. It's pretty ridiculous. So I don't know if Max Crosby not full health, that's going to be a big problem. I would like to see, like, with Dobbs being not newer, but, he's still adjusting. Maybe Patrick Graham can dial up a bunch of blitz packages and we can rattle him that way, because I don't think sending 4 is going to be enough. This O-line, hopefully just a nice day for Devontae AOC. I think this is probably our easiest game of the 5 coming up, possibly, because the Broncos are playing well. The Chargers have a good offense. The Chiefs are the Chiefs, and the Colts are also pretty decent. So I would really like a win out of this one. Antonio Pierce is 2-2 as starting head coach. If he wants to try to win this job, he needs to start winning again. He's technically on a 2-game losing streak now with the Vikings and the Chiefs. So we'll kind of see how that goes. I'm going to take the Raiders winning a 27-24 victory. I'm going to write that down because I think it's good. Coach, what are you doing?
Okay, so I am going to be an asshole like you were an asshole, and I'm going to pick the Vikings. I think Josh Dobbs will shake off that atrocious game against the Bears where he threw like 4 interceptions. It was just beyond terrible.
I would like
to get a guy like all pro like Justin Jefferson back. I think that helps your confidence and everything else that goes into it. I think it's a close game. Ultimately, I think it's like the Vikings win by a field goal, but the Vikings are still in the playoff hunt. And
they're second in the NFC North. I'm shocked.
Crazy, right? So they still want to distance themselves from Green Bay. So I'm going to take the Vikings.
Fair enough. I did the same. You're going to do the same. It is what it is. Before we get into the Jackson Mahomes Award of Excellence, Coach, tell the people about our sponsors.
So today, as I was driving to work, actually driving home from work, billboard appears. Right, this is a freaking billboard. I was like, I have not seen this billboard over here, and I drive this road every day.
Yeah.
One of those cool digital billboards, right?
Let's see.
And as I'm driving by, it says SeatGeek. I'm like, oh, cool. I love going to sporting events. I just went to the UConn Kansas game. We lost, whatever. Good on Kansas. We didn't play great. But anyways, so when I went to that game, what do you think I used? Promo code RTK at SeatGeek. Save some money on my tickets, right? It was so awesome to see them.
It was off, I heard.
Yeah, what was that?
$20 off, I heard.
$20 off, right? Big deal. And then the crazy thing is that the billboard glitches. And then Underdog comes up.
Oh my
Crazy.
God!
Like,
Red
I like to
Fantasy.
bet. I like to bet. I mean, what is it? What?
Who doesn't love to bet?
Who doesn't love to bet? Who doesn't love to win money in a battle royale at fantasy like I did last week? Boom,
Right.
underdog. Deposit $100. Underdog's going to match that. You type in RTK. It's free money.
Nothing
The whole
better.
point, Vegas wasn't built on us winning all the time, right?
No,
so we're going to spend money, but if we're going to spend money, we're going to get money back, and that's how winning is done, right? We can at least break even. So get $100, deposit, get $100 back, promo code RTK. It helps us out. It helps the podcast out. It helps you out, right? So it allows us to go places and go to the draft and just do giveaways and things like that, which we'll do here in the future again. So that's the deal. Billboard, Underdog RTK, Billboard, SeatGeek RTK. Crazy it's out here in St. Louis area, but what can I say?
Hey, beautiful stuff. Now, so help out our sponsors, help out us. And now let's go into our Jackson Mahomes Award of Excellence. I've got mine locked and loaded if you're ready.
Uh-huh.
So, and I think it was all over everywhere. The comparison of two starting quarterbacks who are injured and not playing for the rest of the season, Deshaun Watson and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow down on the field in the parka, on the bleachers, helping his backup quarterback, work through the game, had the tablet out and all that. Deshaun Watson chilling in the suite, looking very uninterested, nice and warm and cozy, having a great time while Joe Flacco's down there. Granted, I don't think he has to mentor Joe Flacco, nor do I think Joe Flacco wants to be mentored. But it would still, you think you'd want to be with the boys, hang with the fellas, be down on the field, not withdrawn from all the action. And he very much was. It just shows the correlation. I'm not even a big Joe Burrow fan, but I think it was admirable. That's the way it went. It has nothing to do with any other exterior factors. It's just that I think the quarterback should be on the field with the team if they are not a distraction. And I don't think he would be. I think they would like to have him down there, I would think. So, my Jackson Mahomes Award of Excellence goes to Deshaun Watson with that sweet life, like Zach and Cody, chilling. Coach, what do you got?
My Jackson Mahomes Award of Excellence, I am, since I have the power to do this, I'm giving it to myself. The Jackson Mahomes Award of Excellence is going to me, Coach.
No, why would you do that to yourself?
I have to, because in fantasy, I decided to sit both Geno Smith and DK Metcalf. So,
no, I said Geno and what they
that's about 57 points. That was on the bench. Could it have helped me win? Absolutely. Lost by about 35. It was about 35 points I lost by. So that would have helped dramatically. That was a dumb move by me. I needed to win this game too. Didn't do it. So I'm giving the Jackson Mahomes Award of Excellence to myself. And I have had a love-hate with Geno Smith this entire year. And once again, I shot myself in the foot. So I am giving myself the Jackson Mahomes Award of Excellence for not being smart and just believing that the Cowboys were going to shut him out. And so giving it to myself.
If it helps, I
hold myself accountable. That's what life's about. You got to hold yourself accountable.
I respect that. I also thought the Cowboys were going to do something similar.
Yeah, so did I. A lot of people had their defense.
I got -1 points out of their defense. So maybe sitting on this week. We'll see. That's the episode. We were supposed to have our special guest. That will be happening at a later time. As we said in the beginning, thoughts and prayers to everyone at UNLV. Awful situation out there. But we want to bring you a little joy on a Wednesday evening. So we'll see you all after week 14, and we get down to our final 4 games of the season, regular season for some of us. So peace out and just win, baby. Oh, if you like the shirt, hit up my boy DC4L Custom Tees, whatever you want.
Yeah, put the link in the bio there. He does great. He does great shirts. He's the man. It's his own little small business, and help out a little entrepreneur.
There you go. Peace out, RTK, baby.